Hey everybody, hello to gamers and non-gamers alike, welcome back. That's my new thing. I like to say hi to the gamers. I feel like there's not enough content out there that is gamer focused, you know? It's only like, 15-25% of all content ever made. Hush Delirium. Don't say a word, mommy's gonna buy you a mockingbird. Kane Hush Delirium. Kane Hush Delirium. Okay, I'm committing it to memory. We're on a streak of 1. Hey, you know what? I think that what some people would say is a streak. Ooh, you piece. What some people would say is that a streak of 1 is like the worst streak that you can have. Wrong. You could have a streak of negative, unbounded integer. You could be in the negative, 20 billion range. I don't know. There's probably like a mathematical legitimate constraint depending on the data type that they use to store the var. Not that you would ever get there, but I would say 1 is by definition in the top half. You're mathematically necessitated to have a streak that is at least better than 50% of the streaks you could be having. Now, that's not necessarily that valid of a thing to say, because you could say the same thing about anything. Oh, if you got a streak of not blowing up your toilet for a day, that's good because you could have blown up your toilet every day. Yeah, but it's that's not the base case. The base case is that you don't blow it up every day. So maybe stop eating Raisin Canes for breakfast 4 times a week, and we might get there. You might be kinder to the porcelain. Alright, so I have no idea what I've been saying for the start of this, but that's okay. I'm having a good day so far. It is Friday, and Friday, I continue to get that Friday feeling, once I started taking Saturdays and Sundays off. Friday took on a little bit of extra meaning, but now especially, oh my, look at that. Now especially, we only have the baby in daycare 4 days a week. So Friday is a day where we can actually sleep in a little bit. I know. Not much, because, she's still, do be wanting to wake up at a reasonable hour, but we don't need to do like the high school style wake up at 6:45 a.m. I will say, by the way, so I'm kind of like an early riser by streamer standards. I like to get up around 11, 12 in the morning. No. I waking up at 7:30, it's not really like that big of a deal. There's an adjustment period when you pivot to it. And then I find that I usually actually like hit my cognitive peak, as meager as that might be. I usually hit that pretty soon after that, maybe around like the 11, 12 region. Take me down. So I think that, for whatever reason, either like the way I grew up as a kid, or, maybe it's wired at a more fundamental like hardware level, but I'm kind of like, I'm a morning guy to some extent. I'm a recovering fake night owl who is rediscovering some morning enjoyment. But, just eating dinner with my wife last night, we watched this video from ASAP Science about, like, why it's stupid that high school in particular starts so early in the morning. And I was like, I could not agree more. It's based in neuroscience, and I don't know the validity of the data, but the basic premise of it is that when you're a kid, you go to bed at 6, 7, 8 p.m., something like that. And when I say kid, I mean like, under the age of like 12. It's just the way, that it's the habit, but it's also like kind of your natural circadian rhythm. Then when you're adult, you settle into something, as you get older, that's maybe like, 11 to 7, midnight to 8, something like that, as your natural sleep schedule. And of course, depending on when you work, that might pivot, but it's kind of like the broad average, I suppose. And when you're a teenager, you actually go through a phase where, like, and again, this is secondhand data, but like, your circadian rhythm shifts so that you just in general feel better. Like your body slows down later, you know, maybe like 1 or 2 a.m. And as a result, in order to get enough sleep, you'd rather be waking up at, you know, maybe 9, 10, 10:30, 11 even. But, you know, it's hard for kids to get that when school starts so early. I thought, by the way, so my high school classes started at 8:15 a.m. I thought that was early, not like, you know, so early as to be against the Geneva Convention, but pretty early. But they were talking about like some case studies that have been done in Minnesota and Wyoming, where kids were starting high school classes. You know what? Let's do it. Kids were starting high school classes at 7:25 in the morning. I'm old enough, let's put it that way, to know that there's probably a reason for that, steeped in, you know, local politics from the late 19th century. You know, kids have got to start school early so that they can be home, you know, just after noon, which allows them to then work on the farm or whatever, right? You know, it allows them to help out with the family business. That being said, as we continue to move on here, well, you know what? No, let's go down. Save your money for future deals with the devil for now, at the very least, and treat that as a positive here. This is so far so good. Okay, that's very nice as well. Good use of the Hanged Man. That's crazy. 7:25 in the morning. I mean, like it. Ooh, and we recycled it. Look at that. I'm a firm believer. Obviously, like it depends. Wait, why wouldn't you use Hanged Man there, man? It depends, like, you know, on shift work and stuff like that. But broadly, you should not be able... I really... And everybody's going to have a slightly different opinion. But I think 9 a.m. is, like, a great standard for the earliest possible... Like, you need to be paying attention to this thing that could possibly ever happen. I will allow exceptions for weather events that you can't necessarily schedule. For example... If you are a storm chaser and you want to be at a new tornado that's forming, you don't really get to be like, could you just put it off for another couple hours? Like, I'm snoozing. I mean, you do, but you'll miss the storm, which is okay in my world. I want to be as far away from the tornado as possible. But for you, you may feel differently. But, like, in terms of, like, work and, you know, appointments... doctor's appointments, etc., etc. I'm a firm believer in the 9 a.m. standard. You know, like, if you could schedule appointments, like, from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. or something like that, then that's... I think that's the dream. People may disagree. Like, I mean, again, I started school at 8:15. I've had some jobs where I worked at, like, you know, even in an office, I worked, like, 8:30 to 4:30. 8:30 I would maybe accept, man, but especially for school, come on, you got these kids showing up. If you want to be at school at 7, let me give you my example rather than just, you know, making up numbers off the top of my head. In order to be at school by 8:15, I needed to, at least before I got my driver's license at least, I needed to wake up around 6:30. You know, you'd take a little bit of a shower. You'd eat a little bit of breakfast while watching SportsCenter. Are you actually kidding me? You must be kidding me. It's the only explanation. Okay. So that's okay. I didn't want that item anyway. It's not good. You know what? We're Kane. Pills are good. I think. Yeah, because our experimental treatment was guaranteed to be good there. Okay. It had no negative. I had to wake up at 6:45, you know? Wake up, be in denial for like 10 minutes, decide that you're finally going to get up, take a quick shower, eat some quick breakfast, wait for the school bus to show up. School bus shows up, ride the school bus for half an hour, 45 minutes, show up at the school. You know, you had to get up about an hour and a half earlier than the thing actually started just to get there. If you're starting school at 7:15, 7:25 in the morning. I don't even want to think about that, man. You got kids waking up at like 5:30 a.m. Because I'm assuming this isn't like, you know, downtown Laramie or something like that. We're doing this, you know. Kids are gonna have to take the bus from quite a distance. It's crazy. That's too early. I don't accept it, and I don't allow it. I think 9 a.m. is reasonable. Then you end up with these oh, yeah, sure. You know, you start to cut corners, right? Like, you know how many friends I had in high school? Single digits, but do you know how many of them didn't shower before school because they just don't have time? You know how many of them didn't eat breakfast before school because, you know, they were basically forced to choose between either eating breakfast or sleeping for an extra 20 minutes or something like that? Like, you know, you're forcing kids to kind of to take a poison pill here. Apparently there's some, you know, cognitive science to back up the fact that, you know, when you don't get and I mean, obviously this makes sense, but when you don't get the kind of sleep that you want, it leads to behavioral maladies, you know? Acting out, anxiety, depression, you know, reduced size of your prefrontal cortex or whatever. But also on top of that, it's just mean, man. You know, you might be saying, why don't they just go to bed a little earlier and then they could have time for breakfast? Well, you know, it's like, why? It's the circadian rhythms. Now, I'm admittedly just parroting the YouTube video here, but, you know, it's like asking an adult, you know, oh, you're tired? Why didn't you just go to bed at, you know, 7:30 instead of 11? Well, two reasons. One is, you know, it's not how it works. I wish that was how sleep worked. I would probably just sleep like all Sunday and then stay up 24 hours in a row, 6 days a week. That sounds like the most efficient way to do that. And on top of that, I got stuff to do. I gotta watch Survivor, man. Come on. Speaking of which, I finally did watch this week's Survivor episode. Can I tell you? We're late enough into the season now. I think we're on episode 4 just finished. I haven't looked at the community reaction to the episode yet. And I do want to say, so for anybody that's not watching Survivor, first off, we're going to generalize this. We're going to make it a little bit more, you know, like relatable to everybody, not just relatable to those currently watching the season of Survivor. But I do want to say, because I think people get wrapped up in this, you know, any negativity that I feel towards any of the Survivor contestants, I'm always hesitant, or at least, you know, since I've become a content creator, I've been hesitant to say it, express it, because these people are like playing a game, right? They're not, and on just terrible damage there, but on top of just playing a game, where the top prize is $1 million, like a seriously life-changing amount of money, you don't see their actions 24/7. You know, their actions are edited in order to present the narrative, and I don't mean in like a fake news sort of way, but, you know, the editors of Survivor, their job is to tell a story. There's heroes and villains as a result of that story. Even if someone behaves a little villainously in the game of Survivor, it's literally like a game, you know, where the goal is to win money. Like nobody got on the show being like, you know what, I'm here to make friends. Haven't you watched the testimonials? I'm not here to make friends. I'm here to win Survivor. That's what everybody says. So it's the same because, you know, Dan, I was going to say he was involved with Big Brother, but more genuinely, he's like one of the most accomplished Big Brother players of all time. Every once in a while, you know, the fan base goes insane. Not my fan base, the Big Brother fandom. And, you know, you live by the sword, you die by the sword. You know, you get a lot of people that are like, hey, I love you, like you were the greatest player of all time, loved your seasons. And then you get a lot of people, you know, you get a disproportionate amount of attention when something goes wrong as well. So I always try to keep it in perspective that, you know, like you might be annoyed with the villains on the show. You might be annoyed with Ricard. You might be annoyed with Shan. But they're just, you know, you don't know anything about them except what you're seeing on on the screen within the context of Survivor may very well be wonderful people in their home lives when $1 million is on the line and their role is to create some entertainment. They're creating some entertainment. But come on, I haven't read the community reaction yet, but everybody's got to be loving Nasir, right? He's every episode, this guy comes out of the woodwork with like an episode saving technique. You know, last episode, the Luvu tribe tries to throw a challenge. Nasir is like, I'm not going to let you do that. I'm putting the team on my back. They staved off tribal council. This week, you know, we've been hearing, and this is a spoiler, obviously, if you care about this sort of stuff, but this week, we, you know, for a month, we've been hearing people talk about, you know, broccoli looks like little trees. Sure, why not? Broccoli looks like little trees. I'm beginning to think that butterflies are the spirits of my dead relatives. Finally, like an angel, Nasir says, yes, and I am about as confused as a goat on AstroTurf. And you go, whoa, it was like Caesar's No moment from Planet of the Apes, man. You're like, finally, rising action. Like, it's so good. Anyway, so yeah, it's fun show. Y'all really be like, oh, I don't watch Survivor. All I watch is Squid Game. Okay, sure, it's same thing, man. Same thing. In some ways. Squid Game, though, is a critique of capitalism. Survivor... Hey, Survivor's kind of a critique of capitalism. You know, if everybody just got $1 million, then you probably wouldn't be as eager to go, you know, starve yourself in the rainforest in order to... and betray your new best friend in order to get it, right? Maybe? I don't know. For more thoughts like this, please subscribe to my Patreon. I don't know. Look, you know that what's that meme template called where it shows like the normal distribution of intelligence, and then you know at the leftmost edge it shows an opinion, and at the rightmost edge it shows an opinion, and then in the middle it shows an opinion. And the thing is, the punchline for the meme is that, you know, the people that are both at the lowest end of that distribution and the highest end have the same opinion, but the people that are in the middle think that they're smarter than everybody else and are like, no, you can't just watch it as if it's a fun battle royale game. It's actually a critique of, and it actually is, to be fair. But they're like, I thought about I thought about talking about posting something like that in a superhero context. You know, it's like at the left side of the bell curve, it would be like, haha, guy in tight muscle suit fights Purple Man. And then the middle is like, no, it's a metaphor for being an outsider and finding a way to use your own unique characteristics that you thought were weaknesses as a strength to triumph over your adversity. And then the right side would be like, haha, guy in muscle suit punches Purple Man. I don't know, I think I'm not in the middle of that bell curve anymore. I might be on the left, I might be on the right, I'm not sure. Clowns to the left of me, jokers to the right. Here I am, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings. Well, you started off with nothing, you were just a merely above average physical specimen of a man or woman. And I don't know that much about the Steve Miller Band. I don't think I know any of the other lyrics. Also, this room, I really want to go to the shop here. So, were it not for the existence of the shop, I would be out of here, man. I would be out of here. I don't want to engage with those spikes. You simply cannot. Actually, now that I think about it, we have made our shops a lot worse. Which is actually okay. Good is a stretch, but is actually okay because we don't really want to spend money on our shops when instead we could spend money on our devil deals instead. How are you so strong? Like, there we go. Hey, you shouldn't be this tanky, I think. I got 18 damage, man. So we already got Bookworm. Sure, I'll take Bloody Lust. We're supposed to do Delirium. I don't know if that's gonna happen, man. Like, Hush, maybe? Maybe it's in the cards for us? I mean, our stats are really... Oh, you know what it is? It's because, I was focused... Sorry, I apologize for this. I was focused way too much on the banter aspect. And not enough on, the gameplay aspect. But we do have Polyphemus, which is great, but also minimizes our rate of... Oh, he was about to pay out, too. I saw it. I saw it. Source, dude, just trust me. So we really would like to kick up our rate of fire a little bit. It would help us out against, you know, these bosses in particular. I don't know, maybe we got an okay run. We're not going to make boss rush unless something changes drastically, but that's okay. So anyway, that's what's been on my mind lately. That's about it, honestly. No daycare today is nice for us, is nice for the baby. It means that she gets 3 days to completely undo all of the progress that she had made, you know, getting accustomed to the daycare provider and also to the other children at the daycare. I mean, we might as well use it right now. It's lots of money, right? That's pretty great for us, actually. Even at the cost of a demon heart that was in many ways unavoidable. Source, dude, just trust me. Well, you know what? At least we got the invincibility there. Yeah, she gets a weekend to completely undo all that progress, go back on Monday and be like, what the heck is this? Where am I? And then start all over again. Back at 1 like Brian McKnight. But it's good. It's a process, man. It's a process. Looking forward to this weekend. I really, like... Again, without complaining. It's hard to talk about your life without being seen as complaining, even if things are good. And I know that you're like, no, it isn't. No, I promise you it is. Because, like, you kind of, especially as an influencer, you kind of, like... You have one of two choices. One is give your real opinions on things, which are, you know, by necessity will contain positives and negatives. The other one is to just misrepresent your life as completely perfect and devoid of all negativity, which is just weird. I don't like. I find like outright negativity about everything. Yeah, you know, I ate lunch today, but I didn't like the barbecue. They gave me a barbecue sauce instead of a sweet and sour. You know, life's on. This is John Maynard Keynes' fault. You know, like that stuff is grating in a large enough sample. You know, first off, you gotta respect the barbecue sauce. I honestly think it's one of the most underrated sauces. I like a sweet and sour, don't get me wrong. I like a hot mustard. The buffalo sauce with the spicy chicken nuggets, also pretty good. I like it. Barbecue, though, it's got a nice tang. It's got a quality all of its own. This will be a second secret room. But also the opposite of like, what's going on, guys? So happy to have you here. Recently, I had kidney stones removed. I gotta tell you, it was a little on pog, but when they were removed, thanks to your support, I was able to pog. You know, like, you kind of have if you're gonna choose to only go in one direction, I don't know, man. I kind of feel like more negative is at least less grating to me. I find that, and I don't want this to be a glass houses thing. This is not like, I'm not presenting this as if, sure. I'm not presenting this as if it's a default opinion, okay? Like this is the way the world should be. This is merely one person's take on the subject. I find vlogging, very weird, especially the older I get. You know, I'm not one of those people that's like, oh, the kids on their phones these days. I miss the old days where, you know, everyone would, back in the day, everyone was wearing a suit on the airplane. Oh, those were, nowadays, people are wearing Adidas flip-flops. Ah, I shake my fist at thee. Flying used to be so cool. Look at these pictures of airplanes from the 1960s that are not actually pictures of the airplanes they were flying in. They were pictures of a sound stage where they basically just lied to you and said, like, hey, you know, look at this. It's like your living room in the sky. When you actually sat on the plane, it was very similar to the ones that we have now. But, you know, back in the day, look, there was a pool table on the, you know, you get the idea. I'm not one of those people, you know. I think that there's positives and negatives to the proliferation of cell phones. You know, like, for example, when I'm on the toilet, I'm like, this is the greatest invention ever made. Shout out to Super Auto Pets. And when I'm driving and I'm at a, you know, I am like, hey, why did that person cut me off? And then I see that they're like, oh, those spikes aren't going anywhere. And then I see that they're using their cell phone while they're driving. I'm like, we gotta ban these things immediately. And, you know, I just oscillate back and forth between, like, this is the greatest and this is the worst. But vlogging is, especially the older I get, the more, like, I guess I just, oh, man. Oh, man. Hold on. Oh, God. Oh, man. Oh, God. We should get that. The older I get, the more I also, like, care about my, not just my privacy from, like, a security standpoint, but my privacy from, like, a dignity standpoint, if that makes sense. Like, my wife has historically watched some vloggers every once in a while. You know, you hit the scroll on YouTube, you know, Dan's Jump King videos, Dan's Isaac episodes, you know, every YouTuber is doing the Dalgona Squid Game candy stuff right now, red light, green light. Eventually, you're like, okay, I'm tapped out, right? You go back to some old standbys just for something idle to watch. And, like, you know, when they were younger, all their vlogs were like, I'm traveling, I'm shopping, look at my outfit, look at what I ate for lunch today. It was the greatest lunch I've ever had in my life. Every day is the greatest day of my life. Source dude, just trust me. Now they're getting like a little older, and life changes as you get older, you know. They've had major life changes, you know. They've had, in some cases, like divorces or big breakups with the person they made a lot of videos with. They've had, you know, health concerns and stuff like that, and they're vlogging their way through it. Like, hey, sorry guys, like, I haven't been making videos lately. I got, you know, an endoscopy the other day, and there's like a lesion on my thyroid, and you're like, I'm not saying you shouldn't be able to share it at all. I'm actually just like, I guess, I don't know, and this is my own interpretation. I find something kind of like dystopian about it, that you either find yourself feeling compelled to share it either like monetarily or to get some kind of, I don't mean attention in a bad way, but you're like, oh, I've had a lot of people tweet me like, you know, why haven't you been making videos lately? Like, I feel compelled to make a video to explain that, you know, this is what's going on in my life. Or actually, like, it's perhaps cynically, I'm not saying they're all doing this, but like, something's happening in my life. This would be a great opportunity for me to make hay while the sun's up, right? Like there was, Kate also watches some mommy vloggers, and some of the videos, and it's just content preference, right? Like, some of the videos, I find there is like a, there's merit, you know. Here's what I wish that I knew when we had our child. Here's what, like, just before we had our child, I guess. Here's the #1 toys that, like, I wish I had right away. Here, you know, what they don't tell you about blank, like, all that stuff can be useful. But then there's, like, you know, one of them's having their second kid, and they did a gender reveal. And I don't have any problem with the principle of gender reveals, as long as you're not making it, like, an enormous deal and lighting the California wilderness on fire. Like, for the most part, I don't really mind, I guess. I think they get a deservedly bad rap. but you could do them in such a way that it's a little bit more tasteful, at least if that's your prerogative. But they were doing like the gender reveal on video. Like the husband was figuring out, you know, it was like a little puzzle, and once he solved it, he would figure out what the baby would be, right? Whether it would be a blue baby or a pink baby, based on what was discovered over the course of this puzzle. Now, I want to say right off the bat, if they both agreed on it and they're both okay with it, so be it. You know, different strokes for different folks. I'm just gonna be honest, and this will sound negative. Some people that do this for a living, like, love attention. And this is a great natural fit for them. And then some people, myself, I count in this camp, consider attention like, you know, one of the negatives of the job, but a necessary evil in order to also be able to sit in my room in my underwear and, you know, narcissistically talk about my views on things in life that I'm unqualified to speak about, right? Like this, for example. Like, if I could just have, like, you gotta be careful the way you phrase this. If I could have one very generous patron who was just like, hey, make me private Isaac episodes and I will replace all of the lost revenue that you would normally get from having, I don't know, 25,000 people watch an episode, I would be like, you know, let's talk about that more. Let's set up a meeting. How does 7:25 a.m. work? We are taking too much damage here. I'm a little embarrassed with myself. I'm a little embarrassed, but... And then we can go from there. But I told Kate straight up. I was like, if you ever did that... I mean, first off, I would just say no. But secondarily, like, I don't know. I just feel like there's something weird to me, just to me, about the idea that, like, these really... you know, private moments, or like these moments that are the signposts of your life, are also just put on the internet, like, for complete strangers to see. That's just like, I don't know. I guess to me, because I think maybe I lost some people who are like, you know, don't judge them. I'm not judging them. I'm just, you know, acknowledging the difference of opinion here. Like, for me, I'm like, why should a stranger have the right to see my reaction to figuring out, you know, what gender my child's gonna be at birth? That's not, like, they haven't earned it. You know, like, my spouse has earned it. Obviously, we have, like, a degree of intimacy there. Maybe, like, my parents have earned it as well, but, like... And you know, if you want to be offended by this as a viewer, I think it's good. Like, this is a bit of like a wake-up call, maybe, for the small minority that would not internalize this to begin with. But you know, if you just like watch a lot of Isaac episodes and you're like, well, I'm curious to know, like, what your reaction is like, so I'd like to see it. Well, okay, there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I'm curious to know what you know, Elton John looks like when he has diarrhea. That doesn't mean that I get to, you know, I get the same access to information that his gastroenterologist has. Now, please don't tweet me. I'm not actually that interested in what Elton John looks like when he has diarrhea. I'm just saying, you know, just because you like Rocket Man doesn't mean you get to see his reaction to finding out how much money he's going to get paid for the Uber Eats commercials with Lil Nas X. You know, I feel like there's a preservation of dignity that... And you know what the irony is? There's probably a ton of vloggers out there who, you know, keep those moments for themselves and for their families, and I would not be talking about them because I don't watch it to begin with, but, you know, when you don't see anything wrong, you find yourself commenting less. So, you know, I'm not saying I'm part of the problem, merely I'm highlighting maybe a subset of the industry that, you know, is not representative of the whole, but there's definitely a lot Like, there's a mommy vlogger that Kate watches who, like... I mean, I get it, like, it's emotional, right? But, like, in the last year, she had her baby, but then also she's been, like, very public about the divorce that she's having from the baby's father, and I'm just like, man, I just... I don't just feel bad for the guy, but I am also like, man, that's like a kick in the teeth. Not only are you getting a divorce, but like, you know, your ex-wife's putting you on blast for like her 500,000 YouTube subscribers, being like, yeah, he just wasn't that supportive for me when I had the baby. Like, you're only getting one side of the story, and then all the like. You know, it tends to be a younger audience that watches this kind of stuff, is like, you are so strong and mature for going through this with dignity and grace, and you're like, she's lighting him up, man. He's not even here to defend himself. I'm not saying the guy didn't do anything wrong. I'm just saying I don't purport to know who's in the right and, you know, to what degree, because I didn't live their lives. I'm only hearing this one take on it at the other side. She lights him up for like 20 minutes, and then she's like, no, but actually he's like a good father, though. He's like a really good father to you know, I forget the kid's name. It was like Cheyenne or something, but... And you're like, well, you know, you say that, but you did also just spend the last, I don't know, like 18... Well, the last 10 minutes and 1 second, so you could fit a mid-roll in there, being like he wasn't doing his job properly. You know, it's just... like, vlogging... It's just funny to me. I guess. Like, it's rude to say, because I'm also, you know, not part of the problem, but I'm like, it's not like the kind of content that I'm making is necessarily, like, that much more dignified at all, or that much more unique. Like, I was gonna say, like, you know, how many more vlogs do you need to watch about, like, what it's like to live abroad in Japan as somebody from... you know, a Western country, you know? Like, haven't you tapped out on that? Yeah, they got a lot of vending machines. You take your shoes off in the house. The bathtubs, a lot of apartments have a place where, like, the bathtub, you just hit a button, it fills itself. Isn't that cool? People are so polite to you, outwardly, as long as you don't hear about what they're saying about you at home. You know, it's, you tap out at some point. But also, you know, there's a few channels like that where when the videos come on, I'm like, it's good. Like, the guy who does, I think it's just called Abroad in Japan. He's lived there for a long time. Those videos are fun. I like that. But a lot, and there actually are like some really good like parental vloggers. You know, whether you, I mean, I'm still uncomfortable with the idea that they're kind of like filming their child's whole, well, not whole life, but they're filming like a lot of stuff about their, child, with their child not having the ability to basically give their permission on that. Just to be clear, like, if my parents had filmed like my entire childhood up until I was like 4 and put it online, I actually don't think I would be annoyed, but also I know that there's a lot of people out there who would be for sure. But there's some that my wife watches where I'm like, you know, this is good. They're giving like a real look at what it's like to be a parent that can be both entertaining and instructive, and, you know, it's not all like pranking my kid with the we're out of money, you have no food prank. Like, it's not all like that. It's there's some good ones, but I'm still just like, you know, sometimes I'm uncomfortable with the amount of like private moments that get shared, you know? Like, there's some, like, mommy vlog channels that and I don't think there's anything, like, necessary. I mean, this is a complicated issue for people, right? There's some mommy vloggers that do, like, you know, here's my baby in the bath video, and they, like, censor it and stuff like that, which is great, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, you could have just told a story about it, like, I just don't know, like, why you had to post this video of you giving your kid a bath, like... But then, you know, I think there's a culture aspect there, too. Some, you know, in North America, we in probably other parts of the world, you know, we treat that as, like, a very, very private and, you know, potentially shameful moment. other cultures are probably a little bit more, you know, like, yeah, you know, it's a baby getting a bath, you know, it's just like the same as filming my baby, like, you know, eating a sandwich or something like that. But it's just weird, man. Like don't you want to save like some moments to your own, not just for like the dignity of your child, but also for like for yourself as a parent? You know, you got some memories that are like, oh, this precious moment is like just for me, and I earned it because I've been busting my ass taking care of this child for like, you know, 2 years. This one, that's the thing. You get the, you know, you don't get to see all the precious moments, you know, on your end as a viewer, because you didn't put in the legwork. You know, you didn't plant the wheat, you didn't mill the wheat in the flour, you didn't knead the dough. You don't get to eat as much of the bread, okay? I've changed, I don't know, I'm trying to change 2 to 3 diapers a day for about 400 days. So we're looking at like probably 1,000 diapers. I've changed 1,000 diapers, so, you know, when I'm holding my daughter and she places her head on my shoulder with like all of her body weight to you know, give me a nonverbal sign of her affection, I'm like, that one's just for me and my wife, okay? You don't get to see that one. You want to see that one? Start changing some damn diapers. Then we can talk. Yeah, until then, you haven't earned it. Okay, are we going to win this run? Yeah, it actually turned out pretty well. I do wish, like, maybe this is selfish of me. I kind of prefer, like, when I'm able to see what's happening, like, not just in the game, but in, like, my life. I've personally, this is just an IMO on this one. This is just in my opinion. I find it kind of, like, unpleasant to be deprived of one of, perhaps, like, what many people would say is the most important sense in a situation like this. I was kind of, you know, hoping you wouldn't do that, but that's okay. Look at that. A good win. So anyway, there's the perfect example of those in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. But anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps it a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. For now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time. See ya!